Hello listeners, today I want to discuss about ocean governance and the implementation of UNCLOS in Southeast Asia from Thailand's perspective. We know that water composes 70% of human body. This year, water or the lack of it ranks high on Thailand's priority. The drought that Thailand is facing has brought about new challenges on how to manage meager water resources in the country. April and May are the hottest months and the problems are very acute. Less fresh water in the rivers and canals will pose another problem, that is the seawater backing up to the river mouths and probably infiltrates further beyond, causing havoc on agriculture. Some water gates near Bangkok have been shut as a matter of precaution. Water has been important to Thailand since ancient times. Most capitals and principal cities, such as Ayutthaya and Lopburi, were situated near rivers for many obvious reasons: for agriculture, for drinking, and for transport. Legends and literature are plentiful in Thailand and in many parts of the world about the relationship between man, ecosystem, and rivers in particular. In many belief systems, the Naga, living in the Naga world, the mystical big snakes of the underwater dominions, which control various parts of canals, rivers, and perhaps oceans too, is the source of inspiration for the conservation and sustainable use of water. If any taboo is broken, then the calamity may strike. Sometimes wars are fought even between men and the Nagas, in case of Padang Nang Ai in Udon Thani, or among the Nagas themselves in case of Sisuto and Suvarnanak in the Mekong River Basin. We cannot mention oceans without looking at rivers that flow to them. They are part and parcel. Mekong River is a case in point. Sediments from Mekong, which are flushed down to the sea near Vietnam, are constantly swept to the opposite side to form Songkhla Lake. Problems of ocean space are closely interrelated and need to be considered as a whole. Maybe there is too much introduction, but I thought it would be good to start with something not too heavy, as we are in Phuket with lots of sun, sea and sand. In February 2016, I had an opportunity to meet with Ambassador Tommy Koh of Singapore. He was president of the Third United Nations Conference on the Law of the Sea. It was good to learn from his insight and experiences. UNCLOS is a comprehensive framework agreement on how to use the sea. Thailand attaches top priority to UNCLOS. We are both coastal state and flag state. We believe and cherish freedom of navigation. Thailand is a trading nation. Currently, we are in or near the top 20 bracket. We rely heavily on sea transport to deliver our export. We signed UNCLOS in 1982, but we ratified it in 2011, just 5 years ago. How come it took us 29 years to ratify UNCLOS? Was there any hesitation on the part of Thailand? The answer is no. The answer lies in our legal system. We are a dualist system. We prefer to incorporate international obligations into our domestic regime through law drafting. Most of our constitutions have a provision on treaty making process, but sometimes there is ambiguity in the language and it takes a long time to sort things out. Well, what was it like to be a latecomer? Now there are 167 parties to UNCLOS. When we ratified UNCLOS as the 162nd party in 2011, we decided to make use of Article 301 because we realized that to wait until all the laws have been passed or amended would take a long time. The instrument of accession was signed and sealed by Kun Kasit Pirom, Minister of Foreign Affairs, on 14 May 2011, and we made a declaration that the government of the Kingdom of Thailand declares in relation to Article 310 of the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea to the effect that the government of the Kingdom of Thailand intends to undertake a comprehensive review of existing domestic laws and regulations with a view to progressively harmonizing them with the provisions of the Convention. The government of the Kingdom of Thailand is not bound either by any declaration or position excluding or modifying the legal scope of the provisions of the Convention or by any domestic legislation which is inconsistent with the relevant principles of international law and the UNCLOS. The government of the Kingdom of Thailand reserves the right to state its position concerning all such legislations or declarations at the appropriate time. Well, the ratification by the government of the Kingdom of Thailand does not imply recognition or acceptance of any territorial claim made by a state party to the convention. The government of the Kingdom of Thailand understands that in the exclusive economic zone, enjoyment of the freedom of navigation in accordance with relevant provisions of the convention excludes any non-peaceful use without the consent of the coastal state, in particular military exercise or other activities which may affect the rights or interests of the coastal state, and it also excludes the threat or use of force against the territorial integrity, political independence, peace or security of the coastal state. The government of the Kingdom of Thailand reserves the right to make at an appropriate time the declaration provided in Article 287 relating to the settlement of disputes concerning the interpretation or application of the Convention. The government of the Kingdom of Thailand declares that, well, we will not subject ourselves to the disputes concerning the interpretation or application of Articles 15, 74, and 83 relating to sea boundary delimitations or those involving historic bays or titles, and we will not subject ourselves to the disputes concerning military activities, including military activities by government vessels and aircraft engaged in non-commercial service, and disputes concerning law enforcement activities in regard to the exercise of sovereign rights or jurisdiction excluded from the jurisdiction of a court or tribunal under Article 297, paragraph 2 or 3. We will not subject ourselves to disputes in respect of which the Security Council of the United Nations is exercising the functions assigned to it by the Charter, unless the Security Council decides to remove the matter from its agenda. We have a standing committee headed by the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to supervise issues relating to law of the sea and maritime territories. We realize that to pass all the necessary laws to implement UNCLOS is a huge task. In 2013, we therefore set up 5 subcommittees to look into our legal obligations under UNCLOS with a view to drafting new laws and to amend existing one. For law of the sea, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is the coordinator among many concerned agencies. The Foreign Ministry makes sure that Thailand will perform its international obligations fully. However, the law of the sea convention involves too many issues and MFA cannot handle them alone. Well, I can say that we cannot bite off more than we could chew. At least there are 5 clusters of issues: the navigation, living resources, non-living resources, tax, law enforcement. What are the challenges on ocean governance and implementation of UNCLOS in East Asia? First, I think, is fishery. Thailand is known for having comparative advantage in fishing in a big way. Fishery products are one of our major exports. As a responsible member of the international community, we always look for opportunity to put our house in order. Last year, we passed 2 pieces of legislation on fishery so that we shall maintain high standard of conduct in terms of fishing. And I think Another challenge to UNCLOS in Southeast Asia is about disputes over the application of law of the sea and also territorial claims and dispute. UNCLOS is a legal order for the seas and oceans which aims to facilitate international communication, promote the peaceful use of the sea, and the equitable and efficient utilization of their resources, the conservation of their living resources, the steady protection and preservation of the marine environment. The achievement of these goals will contribute to the realization of a just and equitable international economic order, and it will lead to the solving of IUU fishing and the disputes over application of law of the sea and territorial claims and dispute. That's it for today. Goodbye.